Hey, and welcome to the first part of my video tutorial on the song Always With Me, Always With You by Joe Satriani. The song Always With Me from the 1987 album Surfing with the Alien clearly shows that even as a super shredder, you can have wonderful tone control and an impeccable sense of melody. This song is not that easy to play, and that's mainly because you need very good tone control, not only to play the fast stuff, but also the beautifully phrased melodic sections of the song. If you'd like to learn more about tone control, I recommend this video of mine right here. Let's move a bit closer to the fretboard now and I'll show you how the song is played. First, I'm gonna explain the complete rhythm guitar track, and do yourselves a favor. Learn this very precisely and play it a few times along with Joe Satriani's recording, because you'll do a lot for your fretting hand, especially since the chords you'll be playing later are not that easy to fret. You'll also get a better feel for the song's harmonies, which will definitely help you later when playing the lead guitar. Let's start with the main riff, and for that we need a B at 11 chord. That's actually the hardest chord in the whole song, at least in terms of fingering. You can see I'm using a slight stretch from the index finger to the pinky. You play the note B on the 7th fret with your middle finger, the octave on the 9th fret of the D string with your pinky, the major third D sharp on the G string on the 8th fret, and with your index finger the note F sharp, which is the added 4th down here on the 5th fret of the B string. To make this work a little better, I bar the lower 3 strings, even though I'm not playing the high E string and the G string. That makes the chord much easier to play, even out of context. For the picking pattern, we use so-called economy picking, which means on upward movements we play downstrokes, and on downward movements exclusively upstrokes. After the B at 11 chord, we play an E major 13. We fret that on the 6th fret of the D string, 6th fret of the G string, and then the 4th fret on the B string. Additionally, we'll play the open E string down here. The last chord is an F sharp sus4, where we simply move the E major 13 shape down a whole step and then grab our root F sharp down here with the thumb. From this point on, you need to play all notes with palm muting. I'll now show you this whole figure once completely open so you can hear how the chords sound, and then once with the correct palm muting technique. Here's the riff played with palm muting, and we'll play this whole thing 3 times. By the way, the song is in 6/8 time, which is why we always pick 6 notes here. After the 3 repetitions with these chords, a variation follows, where we first play the F sharp sus4 chord. For the following G sharp minor 11 chord, simply add the note G sharp with your middle finger on the 4th fret. Then we go back to E major 13, to F sharp sus4, and then to an F sharp major, where we replace the note B with A sharp, which we fret with our middle finger. Here's the complete rhythm guitar for the verses, with the 3 repetitions of the first part and the variation at the end as the 4th repetition. Joe Satriani also plays this live in the intro when he's only playing the lead guitar. Later, a second guitarist takes over this track for the rest of the song. After playing the first part 3 times, we're going to play the same B, E, F-sharp chord progression, but instead of major, we're using minor chords. For this, we need a B minor at 9 chord, where we play the 9th with our pinky finger at the 11th fret, then an E minor at 9 chord with an open E string, the note B at the 2nd fret on the A string, the note F sharp at the 4th fret on the D string, and an open E string. And an F sharp 7 sus4 chord with the notes F sharp, C sharp, E, and B. And this is also repeated 3 times. After this, similar to the verses, a B section follows, but this time it's played without muting. Our first chord here is a G at 9. For that, you bar the D, G, and B strings on the 12th fret with your index finger, and then play the note A on the 14th fret. After that, we play an E minor at 9 chord, where you play the note B on the 9th fret, the note F sharp on the 11th fret, and down here on the 8th fret of the B string, the note G. Next, we play an F sharp 7 sus4 with the ring finger on the 11th fret of the D string, the index finger on the 9th fret of the G string on the note E, then the pinky on the note B on the 12th fret of the B string. And an F sharp, for which you simply move the pinky from the 12th to the 11th fret on the B string. Here's the first part of the B section. After that, there's a variation of it. We first play G at 9 again, E minor at 9, then stay on F sharp 7 sus4 for 2 bars, and move to an F sharp here on the 11th fret on the G and B strings. Now here's both parts played together. After this, the section you know from the first 3 repetitions returns, and later in the solo section, there's a small variation where we play triads on the G, B, and high E strings, and on the D, G, and B strings. Here we have a B major, an E major, and an F sharp major. This is what it all sounds like. You play this 3 times, and the 4th time you leave 1 bar open Play this E here as a bar chord on the 9th and 7th fret, an F sharp sus4, and an F sharp, and then go back into the familiar rhythm section for the rest of the song. Now here's the outro, where you simply loop the B at 4 for a while. Followed by a B5, where you use your ring and pinky fingers on the D and G strings on the 4th fret, let the B string ring open, and then fret your F sharp on the 2nd fret of the high E string using your index finger. And with that, you've completely mastered the rhythm guitar. Now we move on to the lead guitar. It starts relatively simple with nice, slow, but very well phrased single notes, mainly on the B and G strings. You need quite a lot of distortion for this, but you have to make sure to mute unwanted noise with your palm and maybe with the pick that you bring back to the strings after each played line. Joe Satriani himself combined several equalizers and multiple amplifiers to achieve this sound, which is why it isn't just a muddy high gain sound. The individual notes come through clearly and you get lots of sustain. Just try a few settings on your amplifiers. Gain should definitely be high enough so you can hold the notes for a long time and create a similar sound. I'm now gonna play the first part for you here. And you need to play a pinch harmonic here. That probably happened by accident. You don't have to play it the same way every time, but on the original recording you can hear one at that spot. Practice this for a while so it doesn't sound too squeaky, but more like it just happened naturally. And as I said, you definitely need enough distortion for that. After you've played a few phrases, always remember the correct pauses and try to mute unwanted noise in between. That's not very easy, especially with that much distortion. That's why this song is such a wonderful exercise to improve tone control, even when playing with extreme distortion. I'll stop here. And here as well, next figure. Vibrato not too heavy, and again stop after each line. Next, a few notes with palm muting. Then again. Practice this for a while so the palm muting is nicely controlled. Also go through these backward slides several times so they sound good and not too hectic. And as mentioned, controlled light vibrato. This is the last phrase of this part. And here you can clearly see why you need so much distortion, because a lot of legato is played. You strike once, from the 7th to the 9th fret, and after that you'll only play slides. And while playing these backward slides, make sure to mute the upper strings with your palm so no unwanted noise appears, and add a bit of controlled vibrato. And with that, you finish the first part of the song. In the next section, Joe briefly lets his outstanding technique shine through in certain spots. I'll explain those in detail in a moment, but we'll start again with a variation of the main theme. Here we have the first fast-picked and fast-played line, which Joe Satriani doesn't really play that fast anymore today, probably because it's simply more comfortable live to take the tempo down a bit. It's not easy to master, I'll show it slowly. Especially the bend at the end, played very controlled and followed by vibrato, is really top class and requires some practice. When you later play it fast, definitely practice it in stages. Maybe first this part, and then piece by piece. Here it is again in context with the previous line. And once again at original speed. Take your time with this and be patient. It's really not easy to play, and I've worked on it with many students for quite a while. Just stay controlled and maybe start slowly with a metronome, gradually increase the tempo, and at some point it'll work. Next we move up here again into our first finger position, but this time in the octave, and play. And after that, this is also not that easy. Your fingers should already be positioned in the respective frets, 12, 14, 16. Then play 2 pull-offs and a slide. Practice this for a while, pick firmly enough so those 4 notes all ring out. And after some time, it should work well. And now to the last phrase of this section. Practice these bends. Very precisely, because this isn't played very fast and should sound very emotional, especially this release here and this slow release here. Once you've managed that, you've completed the first 2 parts. And that's it for the first sections for now. Next time we'll cover all the difficult parts and the solo, which I'll explain in detail and give you some guidance on the tricky spots. I wish you lots of fun and success learning the first 3 sections. I'll see you again in the next part. Until then, bye.